Hello everybody, welcome to the next edition of Beardy's Books. This is my comic haul review for June 8th, 2016. So we're going to get started. I've got 10 books to go through today, and it is a doozy of a week. And I mean that in the best ways possible. A lot of good stuff here, and I guess let's just jump right into it. Okay, first up is All New X-Men number 10. It is the next chapter in the Teenage X-Men's Apocalypse Wars story. This focuses on young Evan and Beast, the teenage Beast from the 60s, as they have been thrown back into ancient Egypt and encounter the original Ensabanur and his father and a lot of the stuff that's going on in that time period. So it's cool. It's kind of got a feel of what do you call it? Like Scorpion King, that kind of alternative fictitious history thing going on there. So it's pretty cool though. It's fun. You get to meet some new characters, see some cool stuff going on here, and Evan gets to do some pretty cool heroic things. And it's interesting because apparently Ensabanur as a child is not what he expected the young Apocalypse to be like. So that was a pretty fun issue, and yeah, but it was compared to everything else I read this week, it was not the top of my list. So, but this was a tough week. So the differences between most of these are not very large. So let's see, what do we got next? Amazing Spider-Man Civil War 2, or Civil War 2 Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Good grief, that's a mouthful. This is the first of the Civil War 2 tie-in series to start, and I'm going to check all these out, keep up informed. This is cool. It actually, if you've not read Civil War 0, the Free Comic Book Day issue, or number 1, don't watch any further. Or if you don't care about spoilers, because this issue kind of takes place after the events of the first half of Civil War number 1. Ulysses, the new Inhuman, has been introduced to the rest of the Marvel heroes. They encounter the big battle at the beginning of the issue, and the after party. They kind of decide they're going to kind of pass Ulysses around, I guess, to the different heroes to see how his powers work. So this is pretty cool because you see Peter Parker training Ulysses or testing him to see how his powers work, and it reveals some pretty cool things about Peter as Spider-Man, and you get to see Peter doing some stuff where he's kind of training someone. I've not read too much Spider-Man to know if he's done that before, but it's pretty cool because you see a little bit more mature Peter, even though he's still, he's still Peter. He's still a goofball. But he kind of relates his Spidey sense a little bit to what Ulysses does in predicting the future and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool to see how the rest of the Marvel characters may tie into this individually. So we'll see how this all sets up. And it looks like it's going to tell its own story. It's not so much connected to the main events going on in Civil War, at least thus far. It may have a payoff later on. Okay, next up. Civil War 2, Gods of War number 1. This issue was pretty cool. It focuses on Hercules, who's been, he's had his own series in the all different Marvel universe after Secret Wars. It's kind of him trying to prove himself to the heroes at large in the Marvel U, and how he's still kind of relevant. They hint that he was the original superhero back in myth and all that. He's dealing with his own stuff in his own series, and how this issue focuses on how that kind of crosses over into what's going on. It's pretty cool. He meets up with Amadeus Cho, the new Totally Awesome Hulk, at the beginning, and they actually get pulled out into the big battle from the beginning of Civil War number 1, and that was pretty cool. And then the chaos of his story kind of ensues from there. He's dealing with something called the Uprising Storm. The Uprising Storm, it's new gods born into the modern era and they want to overthrow the classic mythological beings and everything. So And of course, Hercules is the only one who can see them. It's pretty interesting. So it kind of makes me want to go back and read what's been going on in the regular Hercules series. But we'll see. Okay, DC's continuing with their Rebirth. The first issue of Action Comics is out, issue 957. So they are rolling back to the old numbering, but including the new 52 numbers into that count. So this is the first one. It's not a Rebirth one-shot, but it is the first Rebirth story, or the first story after Rebirth for Action Comics. And it's cool. I mean, it focuses on the pre-Flashpoint Clark and Lois that were the focus of the Lois and Clark miniseries and their son. You also get some views of some would-be imposter Superman characters in this, and it's pretty cool. It sets up pretty cool groundwork, and I can't wait to see where that series goes. Great storytelling. Dan Jurgens, he seems to have a really good handle on writing Superman right now, so I'll be reading what he's doing with Superman. Next up is the Rebirth Detective Comics first issue. Again, rolling back to the classic numbering. This is issue 934. Sorry, I had a little moment. 934, page 394 for any Harry Potter fans out there. This issue is also really cool. It shows the detective is going to be kind of the team Batman book. It's pretty cool. It's a little spoiler here, but I think if you've read any of the solicitations, you know what's coming. Batman recruits Batwoman. There's an awesome 2-page spread here of Batwoman. I just love this. The art here is just incredible. Check that out. Batwoman swinging through the city. Really cool. Anyway, he recruits Batwoman to help train some of the younger Bat characters to be new recruits in protecting Gotham City. So I guess Batman's too soft, so he needs someone who's got military training to help get them into shape so they don't die. And it leads, you pull a bunch of other characters in. And I just realized I didn't actually finish reading this one. Yes, I did. What am I talking about? Sorry, a page confused me there. But it's really cool. The characters they pull in. There's a couple surprises, again, unless you've read the solicitations. And the ending is a pretty cool reveal on the last page that I will not spoil for you. So check Detective Comics 934 out. All right, a couple more. I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Flash Rebirth. This is really cool. It's really cool. I really like this. I've not been reading a lot of Flash, but I have been watching the show, and I've really enjoyed the show. So it's a slightly different take on Barry and all that. Obviously, comics and shows are different. But the Rebirth for this is really cool. It ties strongly into the DC Universe Rebirth, so make sure you've read that first. But this plays off of the Barry and Wally story. You actually get to go back and see that moment from a slightly different perspective from the DCU Rebirth one-shot, and then how a lot of things with characters in this world are going to play out in the future Flash issues. There's even a whole cool section in here where he goes and talks to Batman that I really liked about some of the big spoilers that Sean and I talked about in the DCU. A certain button that we've known from other comics that was found in Batman's wall. So it's pretty cool seeing where that's going to go. Another Rebirth issue, number 1, DC Rebirth number 1 shot. Aquaman. This was so cool. Aquaman's been one of my favorite DC books over the last 5 years, and this continues to be great. Dan Abnett, great story, and when you realize who the narrator is at the end of this issue, it's pretty shocking the way they talk about Arthur as Aquaman and everything. It's really cool, and some great action sequences in here. I mean, check the art out on that. Pretty cool. One minor disappointment is, and maybe it was just in this issue, maybe it's going to continue. I don't know if there's been a big fan outlash, But Mara is back in her traditional green disco roller skating costume, which I've honestly never been a fan of. I mean, the artwork's great, but I really enjoyed that Aquawoman costume she was wearing. So hopefully we'll get to see that come back. I don't know. Please bring it back. That costume was amazing. It was just, it was so cool. All right, 3 issues to go. I know I'm really rushing through these this week. But next up, Star Wars Poe Dameron, issue number 3. Ugh. Excuse me, classy, huh? We finally get to see what's inside this egg these the Crash people have been protecting. And man, the villain they've introduced in here, was it Agent Tex? Trek? Dang it, where'd it go? I've forgotten his name. I should just look at the beginning, because it's in there, I think. Terex, yeah, because they got the crawl at the beginning of every issue, like every good Star Wars story should have. Again, Phil Noto's artwork is great. I mean, get the pilots and the TIE fighters, X-Wings, it's good stuff. And the likeness to Poe and Oscar Isaac is just great. You can totally hear his voice and personality coming through the character in this. And it's just a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see where this adventure goes next, as it builds up the character more as we've seen him before the events of The Force Awakens. So last DC Rebirth for the week, Wonder Woman. Again, this was one of my favorite books until the artist shift after Cliff Chiang and Brian Azzarello left the book kind of in the last 2/3 of the New 52. This was awesome. For all of you out there who are fans of the pre-New 52 Wonder Woman and her story and the way the Amazons were portrayed, maybe you'll get what you want back. Maybe you won't. Maybe we'll get a third origin story for Diana. But it starts off first page with her questioning the multiple origins, and Diana is starting to kind of feel the effects of the DCU Rebirth, where her memories are weird and tweaking out and all this stuff. And we get to see her, you get to see her put on the new armor and kind of why she goes into the new costume that looks very much like the Batman v Superman, which again, she was one of the best parts of that movie. So and the artwork in this series, this issue was pretty awesome. I mean, there's some really great stuff here. I don't know how well the quality is going to uphold once I get this online, but there we go. And last but not least, my favorite issue of the week, Empress, from Mark Millar and Stuart Immonen. Again, mainly I like this book for Immonen's artwork, but it is just this crazy, awesome action sci-fi adventure. No idea where this stuff is going. I mean, and Immonen's facial expressions, I mean, check that out. Good stuff. Crazy monsters, ice, snow, underwater, space. Big bad looking bad guy. It's a great book. I'm really enjoying the ride this book has taken me on. Hopefully any of you out there that are reading it too are also enjoying the ride. So there. All right. That is it. That is my rundown for June 8th, 2016. Let's see. We'll probably be doing a Warcraft movie review coming up in a couple days. Seeing that probably Thursday night. What else? I don't know. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of good stuff to look forward to. Head out to your local comic shop today, Wednesday, June 8th. Buy some new comics. And there's a lot more than this stuff that I'm reading. This is just the stuff I get. That I'm into. There's a whole lot more stuff out there. So go to your local shop. If you live in Mechanicsburg or York, go to Comics Connection. Say hey to the Counter Monkeys at either place. Say hey to Ned and Bill if you go down to York. And I guess that's it. Have a great night. Peace.